Come on, man. It's Body's drowning pool. Ah, dang, canceled because I was 30 seconds late. Hey everyone, good morning. We got Leon, Johnny, Azzy, and Damien in so far. I'm sure we'll see quite a few others as we're missing some of the people who are usually here on yeah, what is this called? Livestream day. Wait, what in the world? Oh, so I was seeing my desktop output audio right behind pretty much what I was saying out of the microphone. I was like, how is there double audio going on? Maybe I did. I had the stream going in the background. Luckily that was muted or that would have sounded really weird. Oh, you got the reference but didn't think it was intentional. Of course it's intentional. It's a music pun. It's a bad dad joke for lyrics. That's got my name written all over it. Especially after last week's live stream announcement in the Patreon channel, where I replaced words from Metallica's Fuel. That's right up my alley. All right, good morning, afternoon, evening, everyone, whatever time frame you're in, time zone. That's the word. We're gonna start pushing forward with this, get this day rolling. Although I don't think we have to really worry too much about time, because as I mentioned last week, we have a lot of short. Wait, I thought we had a lot of short tracks today. I mean, we do, but not as many as I thought. I don't listen to Metallica. Wow. Although you are younger, so I think that just I think at a certain age, it becomes an area where you can sort of give somebody a pass. But like, I don't know, I'm not a metalhead and I still know Metallica. I feel like it's really hard to avoid them if you grew up in the 80s and 90s with any sort of uh, relationship to the rock or metal scene. I am forgetting a lot of words. It has been a wild weekend for me. Uh, Thursday, my kid came down with a strep flu combo. She tested negative for flu, but she had the body aches and the lethargy and all of that typically associates with flu. So I'm thinking maybe the test just we did it too early and the flu hadn't I don't know replicated as much. So Thursday and Friday, I didn't get a lot of sleep at all. Very restless nights as she was battling fevers and nightmares and all sorts of stuff. Fever dreams. The stuff she was telling me was wild. Yesterday was good. Things calmed down. Her body started to fight it better, but yeah, I'm not at 100% right now. I have a friend who's borderline obsessed with Metallica. I just don't like their music. Everything I've heard's mid except nothing else matters. Yeah, she's doing good today. She woke up fine. Yesterday she woke up fine and she was good for a few hours and then mid-afternoon she started to get wiped out again. But today's looking real good, so I think the worst is behind us easily. I mean, if it wasn't, I wouldn't be streaming right now. I don't know what we would do, trying to cram all the tracks into 3 days or something, but I wouldn't be streaming today if things were bad. All right. Oh yeah, dude, everything's mid except nothing else matters. You should check out Saint Anger. Some people might interpret that as a threat. Me wishing ill will on Johnny, but no, I don't know. It's a good album. Yep, 2 days. It's crazy how fast kids bounce back too, man. If I was as she was for 2 days, I'd still be like wiped out for the next few after that. I don't understand the Saint Anger hate either, other than it's different so bad. That I mean that's That's the kind of thing I see with a lot of bands. Anytime they try something new, it's different, so it's bad, and then you just get a lot of hate around it. Look at me, I can play riffs and yell into a mic. Yeah, we know your viewpoint, Damien. All right. We're kicking off today with some Vennart Binary. This one comes at us from PL Jogging, solo project from Ocean Size's vocalist, which sounds pretty cool. Ocean Size does some good stuff. We got a 6-minute track ahead of us and some fun crayon art. Fitting cover for the artist name. Why? Oh, yeah, fitting. Okay, yeah. Took me a second to read. Like I said, I'm not 100% here today. Let's just enjoy some music. Dive into some Vennart. Oh wait, that would have been bad. That would have been double bad. Y'all would have heard nothing. Plus, whenever I did turn it on, it would have been way too loud. Alright, now we're ready to go. Checking out some Vennart. It is crayon though, isn't it? I think that's the wildest part. It's so rare to find crayons done on adult projects. Like watercolor, pencil, marker, digital, oil pastel. That's like the mature mediums. And then crayon is like something you get rid of as your kid. But crayon is actually a really cool texture. And I like some of the ideas that are presented here. You know, one song in today's list? That's interesting. I don't think I know many. Actually, Greyhaven. And I know Fit for an Autopsy as a band. Artificial Language I know is a band. PJ Harvey I know is a band, or as an artist. I don't mean anything mean, Damien, but I'm glad that I'm not experiencing the new interface. Crayons are better as a snack in elementary school. Okay, so we're chilling in this. I didn't mean to talk so much, but... Oh, okay, here we go. Very chill. I like the effect put on the vocals here. The bass line's nice. As static as the music is, there continues to be new textures on the vocals, whether it's harmonic layering or texture layering. Helps the song feel like it's progressing beyond just the very little layer movement we're getting. Alright, here we go. Rhythmic element here is interesting too. Oh, that's how it ends. Okay. So that's the vocalist's solo project, right? Yep, solo project. Johnny, we are chatting on Discord, that's why. I have this little box over here set up to pull from YouTube's chat and Discord's live stream chat, which I think is, yeah, that's a patron exclusive thing. And it wasn't working. And Terranekla actually said something funny about you listening to Nothing Else Matters, and it didn't get picked up, and I was sad about that, so I wanted to fix it. But yeah, so solo project. I assume that this dude plays everything here, which makes it a little bit more impressive as he does the vocals and the guitar and some of the, assumingly, the production stuff too. Drums, unless the drums could be programmed too, but I find it interesting when someone's a multi-instrumentalist. That always intrigues me. I think that's awesome. And it makes me reevaluate everything, because like if you listen to a band and everybody does one thing, they have the opportunity to really excel at that one thing, to become a guitar god, or just a phenomenal vocalist or something like that. But when you have to do everything, I don't have as high of expectations because your expertise is being spread out. And that puts some of this in a better perspective. However, it also is very heavily layered and atmospherically driven, which is sort of what I remember Ocean Size being as well. So it does feel like it fits into the type of music that this person traditionally plays or sings within anyways. So I'm trying to keep all this in mind, because honestly the song it didn't really do it for me. It kind of bounced off of me a little bit. It does have growing layers, and we do have contrast in vocal deliveries, but it felt like it didn't go anywhere for a very long time. And then when we went to a new place, we stuck in that for a very long time, and I just wasn't on the same page with them. As usual, if I'm in the mood for whatever music this is, whatever atmosphere they're going for, yeah, I'm really going to enjoy sitting within it. But if I can't connect with it on minute 1, I'm not connecting with it on minute 3 either, and I'm just getting, tired of it along the way. So that's kind of where I sit with this one. There's some cool ideas in here. I like the rhythmic stuff in the back half. I do like the texture layering and the vocal contrast in the first half of the track. It just never really clicked with me. Bunch of cool ideas, not my cup of tea. It also means you expect more of the piece in terms of the vision and cohesion. Yeah, 100%. There is no interfering in it. So if there's something I don't like about it or a place where I found fault, I know I know where to place the blame. No, that's a mean take, but it is. It's the same thing with my work too. It's probably why I'm so critical of my own work is because I don't have anyone else to place the blame on. I can't say, "Oh, my bassist failed me today." No, like I'm doing everything. So, there's also that idea of just like I'm making sure that whatever I write then is cohesive and everything that I want. There's no interference to it. If there's anything being held back, it's got to be my skill level because there's no way that I'm going to compromise on my vision randomly. Yep, there was a YouTube link on Patreon and Discord. Oh, did I forget? No, I got it. Yeah, the link's everywhere. It's in Patreon chat and it's in the Discord event. And I'm pretty sure it's on the Patreon page too, so. Oh, on YouTube. Good call. I knew I forgot something today. It's still unlisted. Now it is public. It should be showing up for people. Thank you for bringing that to my attention. No, it doesn't. Usually I make it public, and today I just forgot right over my head. To welcome the outsiders. Yeah, everybody here right now is probably a patron. Maybe a few of the people on Discord saw the event and went for it, but yeah, I completely forgot to push it out to everybody. All right. This one that we got here. YouTube does suck at live streams, and I'm kind of tempted to push all this stuff over to Twitch too, simply because I think Twitch is better about it, and there would be some level of promotion of the channel outside of the people who watch it. But it is very closely related to what we do on the channel proper, and I've always felt that it was strange for me to say, "Oh, you like watching me do music reactions on YouTube? Go make another account to talk to me on this other place." So I've always kind of kept it right here. Oh, yeah, I forgot about multicasting. And the thing is, too, is that I can include Twitch chat over here as well and sort of bring everything together. Yeah, Twitch doesn't block streams in the middle, do they? Like if there's a DMCA takedown, they'll stop the VOD from being uploaded, but the stream itself will go uninterrupted, I think. Yeah, no automatic takedowns. You can use all the Twitch emotes. 3 chats combined will lead to very confusing conversation. Yeah, it's really going to force people to focus on this chat window in order to keep up rather than whatever platform they're using. It gets a little messy. I remember when I started streaming like 8 years ago, I think, when I started trying to be a video game streamer. I was reading into it. Should I restream? Should I multicast? And the general idea was no, because it's more confusing for the audience. It's better just to pick a platform and stick with it. So I never did. And I think it's wild that restream and multicasting, the entire perception of it within the streaming community has completely shifted since then. You have browser audio in a separate channel that doesn't save the VODs. Interesting. Very interesting. You'll have to, do you have a link that further explains what that is and the benefits? I mean, the benefit obvious is that your stream audio can be different than your VOD audio. But how would you go about doing that? Yeah. Yeah, I need a link for that because that sounds, it doesn't sound great for this purpose. Like, could you imagine? I'm like, yeah, we're going to check out King Crimson track on stream, and then we do it, and then Later on, I release a VOD without that track in it with something else totally different. But then I still have comments about the King Crimson track, but because they blocked it, you know, I changed the audio out on it. I don't think it would work necessarily for this purpose, but it's still a neat little trick. Alright, next up we got some Keiichi Okabe, Prevolt Zophiel, and Prevolt Armaros. All of this comes together into a track called 4, it looks like. Or maybe it's called 4 because it has these 4 parts. I don't know. It comes from Drakengard 3. This one comes from Terranekla. Brian said no to Nier music until he has played the games. I don't remember saying that, but it does sound like something I would say, especially since I've started playing them now. Anyways, here's Drakengard 3. This version gives something close to the game experience as it has the intro and both phases. The actual songs are Prevolt Zophiel and Prevolt Armaros, both written by Keiichi Okabe. And the tie-in there for people who aren't gamers is that Keiichi Okabe is also the composer for the Nier games, and Drakengard and Nier are all in a weird shared universe. I think so, right? Because Drakengard 3 was PS3. Something interesting is, so a couple years back when my dad passed away, I inherited, I guess is the right word, his game collection. And I vaguely remember seeing something in there, and I had to go double check this morning since we have Drakengard 3 and Keiichi Okabe here, and I actually own Nier on Xbox 360, and I didn't know. I don't have a 360 to play it on, but I own it. And I thought that was pretty neat. I'll probably never play it. It's probably just going to end up getting sold, but I have it. Hey, Stringhead, welcome. Yeah, dude, the lore to like Drakengard and Nier is wild and encompasses stage plays and audio drama CDs, novels, comics. There's like only 5 games and like 60 pieces of media for it. It's bizarre. I don't even know where to start with it. Definitely a strange world. Let's dive into this. See what Keiichi Okabe has for us today. Very different from his work on the Nier series. Definitely an interesting mix-up. There's an interesting like digitization on the vocals too. what's wild is it kind of reminds me of reaction channels that will distort the audio a little bit to get past the bot. Johnny, even listen to the guitars right here about the imaging. It's like different parts of that riff are emphasized in different channels. It's like even that pedal note, it seems to be shifting around. It's wild. Yep. Yeah, I was gonna say something along the lines of like a sonic mirage, but you know, wiggly works too. I think that's an accurate term. Everything in there is just, it's wild. I can totally understand not being a fan of that. It is very different production wise. I think when you look at just the music, it's pretty straightforward. And maybe the simplicity of that might bounce off of you, but musically, I think it's rather solid. Being a good, like a heavy metal idea. But it's just produced in a way that's bonkers. Instability, yeah, I can go with that. There's also like a really interesting digitization of stuff going on there too. And like, I've never played Drakengard 3, so I don't know what's going on in that. But I did play the first Drakengard, and all I remember was the first level. I was like charging in on a castle and just like slicing people up as a knight, and there was like an army behind me, and then a dragon attacked or something like that. It was like straight up fantasy, right? Pretty typical, you know, knights fighting for castles, sieging castles, and then there being dragons. For this type of like digitized, borderline, like electronic, heavy metal stuff, it feels very strange for the very limited knowledge I have about this series. And I don't know how to reconcile that. Normally with Keiichi Okabe, I'm pretty good about saying, oh, you know, this is why he wrote this. It's the feeling he's trying to evoke. And then usually somebody will come up in the comments and be like, oh, yeah, you know, it plays during this scene, which like lines up with what you said. But like, I have no idea how any of this could line up. It screams I'm in a video game. It's bizarre. It definitely feels 2000s though. I don't remember what year Drakengard 3 came out, but it's also the type of music minus the obviously Japanese vocals that I would also feel would be at home in like a goth rave or like a Blade movie from the 2000s. It's wild. I think that's the best word for it. I don't understand its context. I don't understand its sounds, but it's something that draws me in. I don't, it's like a puzzle that I just don't get. Yeah, as Leon pointed out, the lyrics are weird. I picked up on a couple of lines. I didn't pick up on all of it, but definitely the lines about the nails blushing was an interesting one. See, I also agree with that too. Once we got past the opening idea of digitizing that scream and then going into the white noise of it and then bringing in the metal, that all was interesting. It caught my intrigue. After that, it was one metal idea for the remainder of the time. And I kind of hoped that with this being two songs combined or something like that, maybe four parts, I'm still not entirely sure on how the titling of this song works. I was hoping for more parts, and there wasn't. Drakengard is normal until it isn't. Well, fantastic. I'm pretty sure I own the first one. I don't know if I own the second or I don't think I own the third because, like I said, that was PS3, and I remember my very limited PS3 library I had. I'm kind of thinking I want to play those after I'm done with the Nier games, though. Just complete all 5 games. It's 2 versions. That's wild because I didn't hear 2 versions at all. There was that subtle change in the middle. I just kind of chalked that up to a bridge, though. Maybe that was the second part, and then we returned to the first version. Might have to listen to it again, though, because I was very focused on the production, so... A burger mixed with ice cream. That is a very good metaphor. However, I also think, at least in America, you'll find somebody who really likes that. Which I guess might be a good analogy for that track overall. And see, that's the other thing, too. The repetition, it is a video game song. I don't know where it takes place. In the credits, yeah, I don't think that'd work so much. In a combat section, yeah, the looping would work really well. Alright. Burgers and milkshakes. That's delicious. That is an American cornerstone right there. That's an ocean-sized Hallmark. I remember that track just kind of stopped. Do people not dip burgers in... I know people dip chicken nuggets and french fries in milkshakes. I'm pretty sure... I mean, okay, so even if you don't dip it right in, you can take a bite of your burger and wash it down with milkshake. That's pretty close. I don't know if I would do that, but I also don't order dessert with my dinner either. The milkshake would be something that comes after, but as soon as I saw you just say my name in isolation, I was like, yep, that's it for Johnny. Cereal is a soup? Is it? I mean, I call coffee bean soup, so... Dipping food in milkshakes? That is an American classic right there. I don't even remember who told me about it. Everybody I know dips stuff in milkshakes. Before they're exiled from society. uh, yeah, man. When I was a teen, somebody showed me, man. We went to Wendy's. I mean, it wasn't a milkshake. It was just soft serve ice cream, but yeah, this somebody would order, you know, like Frosty, fries, and nuggets, and everything would get dipped in the ice cream. So that's just a thing. No, that is true too, Leon. It's you can definitely write more linear style music. It's just that loops are safer unless you have more control over the pacing of something. Or unless you're just going to write like a 25-minute song. Dip my burger in the soda dispenser. Golly. Yeah, we got artificial language coming up in a bit. With that said, let's keep this rolling. This one comes at us from Zyke Me, no context. I don't even know how to pronounce this. Sgàile? Sgàile? The Generalist. I can say that part. Let's dive into this track, see what's going on. Dude, what is it? Majora's Mask is so good about turning on and off layers or crossfading layers, so you get different versions of a song depending on what you're doing. If I ever get lucky enough to make the 2 games that I want to make, they're both going to have trigger-based audio in them. Nice groove, strong atmosphere. I think I had those adjectives backwards. Oh, that's awesome. Interesting production with this guitar being so big, and then it just leaves that empty. Interesting. The vocals are also just a bit pushed too far into the mix for me, but I think I could get past that with some familiarity. A couple of repetition. A couple of times listening to this. That's it. I'm hoping it expands next time through. Yeah, beautiful harmony with the reverb on it. I like the reverb on the guitar as well, the lead one. Also, all that energy from the snare just getting thrown aside for this. Interesting to reduce the intensity of the chorus in the middle quarter of it. I like that synth in the background. I keep thinking we're hearing the beginning of a guitar solo, and then it just never is. Hey Romano, welcome. That was a pretty nice drum idea. Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head, Johnny, about baiting an expansion that never happens. I think the song is solid for the most part. It's like 90% there. The melodies are great, the energy is great, the atmosphere, especially in the quieter sections, like the verses, are great. I wish the bridge had done something else. It just gave us the chorus without the vocals, which I already felt the chorus was missing something, and taking away the lead made it feel emptier. But it's like, it's right on the cusp of being something really great. And then there's just so many decisions that confound me. It goes just high enough to think it's going to soar, but then it does it. Yeah. Everything is about reaching a hurdle. And if you pass it, you exceed into greatness. And then they just fail to jump it every single time. It does feel intentional. It has to be intentional. There's just no other way. It happens way too often, way too many ways. But like I said, it's a solid track. The vocalist is great. I love the way that they harmonize with the vocals, the layers, the reverb that we get in that second verse, the vocal line we get at the end. There's so many great ideas coming from the vocalist. The guitar works solid. The drumming has some really cool ideas in it. I will say, though, that going for the constant eighth notes for the first half of the chorus, and then the next quarter of the chorus is pulled back, like every other beat on the ride cymbal, and then going back to that driving eighth note idea, feels strange to rein in the energy for the back half. Usually you would start with that and build up from there. I don't know, it's just, yeah, unrewarding is kind of how I feel about it. I kept expecting something more, just to take that extra step, and they never do. In fact, sometimes it feels like they trip rather than just stand still. I think this band has a bright future ahead. I don't know how big they are. I don't know. I figure 400 subscribers are a smaller group, but maybe that's just because they're an older group. I don't know. Oh wait, pre-order the debut album from 2 years ago. Yeah, so I think based on one song, right? So maybe the other tracks on their debut album are so good. Yeah, it's not a skill issue at all. I don't think so. But I think they have a really bright future ahead of them if they can kind of get a wrangle on. I don't even know if like Johnny said, it might be intentional. There might be a narrative purpose for it. In which case, there's nothing about wrangling anything. But I can't know that without listening to more of their music. Based just off this one song, though, I can hear greatness. They're just kind of, they're not crossing that finish line. And I think they can. I'm going to pull that aside. I'm going to check out some more of that later and see where I stand on it. Because I do enjoy it. I think it's a good band. I just found that one particular song a bit frustrating to get through. Alright, we got some DECO 27 coming up. I don't know what to think of this. The sheer volume of intense dopamine I experience while listening to this song only further emphasizes the severity of my Pokemon nostalgia brain rot infection. Please excuse me as I seek immediate medical attention. Alright, Johnny. Oh, jeez. Oh, wait, I have the... That's what happens. Let me get this real quick. So I updated the list with his... Because he had this choice from Igloo Ghost originally. And I updated the list, so that's all correct. But I forgot to update my links. And it's not going to be hard to find because the album, not the album art, the cover image is Pikachu. So, alright, so we have DECO 27 Volt Tackle featuring Hatsune Miku. What? Let's dive into this. The title reads Ball Tech. Interesting. I wonder where I got that title from. I must have got it from somewhere because I'm not making things up. Well, whatever. Vocaloid time. Let's get into it. percussive. Wow. I think this is one of the few times I'm not a real big fan of a Vocaloid idea. It's just too... I don't even know the word for it. There's weird scoops into the beginning of each syllable. Wild shift. Oh, did they? I missed that. Wow. What is that jingle? That's not the battle victory, is it? I have a hate-love relationship. I like how you put hate first on that. Pokemon Center, that's it, when you get healed up. Does it also play when you capture a Pokemon in the old ones? Hate first was intentional. So, I like the song. It's got some neat rhythmic ideas in it. The vocalist being hyper-rhythmic alongside. The music was a nice little touch. Created some nice synergy there at times. It's very catchy. The wild shift towards what I guess we'd call it the bridge that we revisited there as the outro as well. My big thing is the Vocaloid. It's got a weird scoop to it all the time, and so when we get those really rhythmic ideas, like in the chorus, it seems weird because it's got this scoop. It isn't as articulated as I would expect a human voice would be, and it sounds weird to me. Maybe it's just one of those things I could get over, just due to an inexperience with Vocaloid voices, but it was a big hurdle for me right here. Tons of references to the various Pokemon tracks and sound effects here. That's awesome. See, I think I would have heard the Pokeball shaking, but I wasn't necessarily looking for Easter eggs either. So maybe I'll check that out. I'm gonna go on a nostalgia trip later. I'll listen to it again, looking for Easter eggs. Yeah, the very neat ideas, I think, overall. This is another one of those tracks where I would love to hear a human cover of it. Because, again, I think it's a solid track. I'm just not a big fan of the vocal delivery. So, yeah, fun is a good word for that. I don't think I have much else to say. It's not a lot to dig into. Definitely pulls at the nostalgia strings. And I think it's a cute little thing as far as the chorus goes about talking about love in a Pokemon battle metaphor. Says, a Volt Tackle into your heart. What do you mean that's not super effective? Or what do you mean it's not very effective? Something like that. I think it's a cute little way to go about doing that. One style of Vocaloid using a specific type of voice bank that typically isn't comprehensive, resulting in a choppier sound. Alright. Yeah, not for me, but it seems that there's precedent for that style. Wouldn't be surprised if a lot of Pokemon jingles are the same series of sounds with different pitches, speed. Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's what happened in a lot of older games when you got less room for data. You got to get creative with stuff. So, making a voice bank yourself, you're going to have to share that when you're done. I'll be interested to hear what that sounds like. I have no nostalgia with this. Oh man. Yeah, I mean, this feels razor honed to pull a little bit of nostalgia, even with Hatsune Miku being the Vocaloid. Since her voice is iconic as one of the first Vocaloids. So even that has a little bit of nostalgia tied to it. It's going to be an absolute disaster. That sounds even better. I'm here for it. All right, Moonface. Love the house you're in. What? Paper Bag Session 11 Part 1. I have so many questions. Oh, well, this is Paper Bag Records. So, okay, that makes a little bit more sense. This is just a live session. That's their word for it. Okay, that's their phrase. Session 11 Part 1. What button did I just push? What does that do? I don't know. If something breaks, it's because I pushed the button I don't normally push. Next up, we're checking Moonface. What makes me me? No context. Oh, we have a second person dealing with the YouTube layout. Yeah, everything's real bad in it. And Damien was talking about having to even close chat just to look at the description of the videos. So, the confused edition. Yeah, I think that works. I've been confused about a couple of things today. Particularly, I feel like I'm taking jabs at the production more than I usually do. I don't know if I should get off that or if it's just a coincidence so far. All right. Let's dive into this. Got some Moonface. See what's going on. A fellow sufferer. No, I think that the rollout for the new UI just hasn't hit America yet. But if you go look on YouTube, new YouTube interface or something like that, you'll find a couple of videos of people just complaining about it nonstop. It's a very, very slow rollout. However, being on Firefox might also delay it a little bit because Google likes to favor their own. There's an experimental feature in Discord Mobile that I found helps a lot. I'll try to remember what it is in a second. Oh, he has a good vocal tone.
I sincerely believe the results would be a disaster.
It's a beautiful progression too, just enough tension to give it color without going too far into that direction.
And I beheld the face of my true master. You've gotta love the house you're in. You've gotta love the house you're in. Sat out on the balcony, doing blue, playing chess by myself.
Nah, this is a really strong build-up.
There is a pseudo-intellectual in me.
It's the ebb and flow. This works so well.
But luckily there's something else.
Yeah, I mean, we just listened to a track a couple of songs ago that other people felt was well-paced and I didn't, so yeah, personal preference.
A crow that keeps banging up against the glass. A well-intentioned demon Maybe that last one's not so bad. Maybe that last one's the main attraction. But you've gotta love the house you're in. You've gotta love the house you're in. 'Cause someone keeps writing your name all over the walls. Someone keeps writing your name all over the walls. Ah, da, da, da.
Yeah. I don't know what VNV Nation is.
I would like to be more for you than just a ghost lighting up in the courtyard. Sometimes I am an actual man standing perfectly still in the dark. Starless future, folklore past. So leave the shade halfway open. Leave the shade halfway drawn. I'm writing
Alright, we finally got some modulation on the higher line.
the stars. Happiness is waiting for you to fall.
I really like that ending. The length of time he used that, though, is definitely a bit of contention for me. I like the idea. It just began to be sonically painful in a sense. I don't know. It was cool to start with. And then after a minute, I was like, okay, it's just kind of getting annoying. Dang, I don't know. I like the progression underneath it. I like the minor modulation we got as we raised its pitch, and I think it was beautiful bringing that down to the ending. It just went on a little too long for me. But knowing it was the ending makes sense. Yeah. I think it might work better on a second listen now that I know where it's going. But yeah, the song is just gorgeous. He has a great voice. He utilizes it well. I love the chords he utilizes underneath it. It adds a little bit of spiciness to it. He's not using standard pop chords. It has some character to it that I think works really well for me. And he tells a good story. So yeah, total package right there. Does Moonface often do things like this? Because I pulled that down to explore further later. I'm not always in the mood just for piano and vocals, but I could probably do a whole album of that as long as he keeps that same intensity, that same level of emotional impact. Alright, next up we got some frames. Santa Maria. This one comes at us from Stringhead, a slow burn for April, chill indie rock, slightly grunge, builds to a noisy outro. A bit repetitive, but I really like its loose groove during a slow build-up. This album has Steve Albini behind production. Albini, yeah, I said that right. So it has a peculiar sound. This pick isn't really representative of the album, though, since most of it is actually soft indie, folk rock, pop. But there's a few noisier cuts like this one, some nice contrast. All right, let's dive in. The Frames, Santa Maria.
Let me off this boat, I'm sick of this ride. The world is heading ever southward and I can stay in here. And you're lying awake, away on your side. The feeling comes in waves and burns us and I don't wanna die. Slippery hands to the line of your throat. Fever now.
You know what's wild is I heard the bass line, but I didn't really give it much attention. I was mostly focusing on the vocals and the drums.
Santa Maria, why did you have to go? Santa Maria.
But yeah, lovely bass line.
One day we will know. From the bound of heads and the passing of hands, and all we thought they'd understand is lost and they won't know. And what have we left when it's all that we've got? There is no X to mark our spot. What's past is done and gone.
It's interesting that this is described as a noisy track, so I'm really waiting for it.
Why did you have to burn? Santa Maria. One day you will learn.
We got a flute or something? Some harmonics? Violin? Yeah, definitely tension. It is a violin, okay. That's a choice. It mostly works, except for this little moving idea over here. Like, the distortion of the guitars is just making noise, but this little lick on the left, that's creating harmonic dissonance, very intense harmonic dissonance. Oops, made a mistake. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of hit and miss. I think there are parts of it that work really well. I think there are parts that are, I don't know. You see, here's the thing, right? This is not my cup of tea. If I'm subjective about it, I enjoy the first half a lot more than the back half. But from an objective perspective, this person wanted to make noise. I think they did a pretty good job at it because it's not quite prominent, right? You have your distortion over on the right side. It's creating this white noise stuff. You have your piano and this other instrument off on the left, and they're making harmonic dissonance. That's creating more noise. But if you just kind of absorb the noise as a whole, which isn't that hard to do, and kind of go along with that drum beat, and kind of even just take the rhythmic part of that, just kind of take the rhythmic groove of that, I think it's really easy to just kind of glide with this, even though it's not something that I would normally listen to. It might make sense after looking at the lyrics, yeah. More like miss and miss. And so I find it really impressive that as noisy as it gets, it doesn't really reach a point other than the initial shock of it. I probably would have turned it off myself after a little bit of time instead of letting it play the whole way through, especially if I had seen, oh, you know, there's 30 seconds left. They're probably just going to keep doing what they're doing. But I didn't hate listening to the full thing. And I think that's a pretty big accomplishment. There's something cool going on there, even if I don't quite understand it or even like it. But the first half I thought was beautiful. Great atmosphere. I love the vocals and just the quietness of everything. Everything feels really, really quiet. And then bumped up later in post volume-wise to give it a listenable volume, but the delivery of the instruments, of the drums, of the vocals are all so faint. I think it works really well at creating a specific atmosphere that you just don't get to hear too often in music. And I greatly enjoyed that. It's a very vulnerable, tired kind of sound, and I think it works well. That ending, though, that's a choice. It took a second to figure out what was going on here. All right. The highlight of my day, I think, we're going to be looking at Greyhaven's The Welcome Party. The EP came out Friday. I put it in my playlist, and I think normally it would have taken a lot of effort not to listen to it. I was pretty busy Friday and yesterday, so I didn't really have time to check it out. But, if I did, I would have been real hard pressed to leave it unlistened because I knew we had this live stream pick coming up. For those who don't remember, Greyhaven was one of my top picks for 2022, was it? That their last album came out? And I've been looking forward to new music from them. I guess that's one good side effect of the kid getting sick. Yeah. I also didn't get to check out the Sum 41 album from 2 weeks ago. Or I guess last week. Yeah. It was, it's the only album I have from last week that I have left to catch up on. There was some good stuff released last week too. And then I added like 2 more EPs and a couple LPs from Friday. So it's just so hard to stay current. And the thing is too, is I'm being very, what's the word? Where I'm just only picking the best of the best of the best to put into my list. Because if I do like what I did last year, I'm going to end up having listened to 300 albums and still have like 50 left over. I don't have time. Picky might be, it's not what I was going for, but yeah, I mean, that's a good word for it. But yeah, like if I'm listening to something like, yeah, I'd probably enjoy that, but would it make my album of the year list? It doesn't go. Not unless it's a band, like Sum 41. I don't think Sum 41 is going to be on my album of the year list, but it's their last album. I've listened to every single other one. I gotta make that journey. It might surprise me too. I'm not a big fan of their punkier side, so I don't know if I'm going to like their first album, the first part of the double album, but I'm really looking forward to that second half. Alright, do we have context on this? Christopher, no context. I'm just excited to get into it. So let's do it. We got Greyhaven's The Welcome Party. So much drum variety already. Yeah, the old 3-3-2. Yeah, layered vocal. They love their hemiolos, man. They show up so much in that last album, and we've already heard it on this track. Yeah, definitely appeals to my nostalgia. But there's a nice modern twist to it. Dude, those are clean rolls. Loving it. Loving the cymbal work on this part. Great bass tone too. Love the guy dancing. Love the fashion. Yeah, so cool structures to the song too. It's fairly linear throughout, returning back to a chorus and then a variation of the intro to wrap it up. Halftime variation. Very cool. Even within the chorus itself, we had a back and forth between a halftime and a full time, kind of creating some contrast between the energy. Even within that microcosm of just the chorus, there's still this push and pull going on. The vocal work, as always. I think the vocals and the drums are really what draw me to Greyhaven. The drummer just has a phenomenal way of dancing between really aggressive sounds, favoring the snare more so than I think probably should be used sometimes. And then these highly melodic ideas, like when we got to the quieter verse section and the way that he incorporated so many of the cymbals alongside some quieter ghost notes on the snare. I mean, it's just a very involved drum pattern there. Beautiful idea. Constantly evolving too. It wasn't just one single pattern. Pretty common for the style, 100%. You know, a lot of the guitar work is textural and rhythmic. All right, we're either, you know, picking two notes and making a rhythm out of them, or we're doing some harmonics run through distortion to create some white noise stuff, or it's just a very noisy guitar idea presented through most of the sections here. You know, we had a breakdown at the end. Still not a big fan of breakdowns, but you know, they work. They changed the contrast up, or they changed the song up a little bit. But I really do think it's the vocals and the drums that keep me coming back to Greyhaven. What allows them to stand out apart from a lot of the other post-hardcore bands or contemporaries. Yeah, Johnny, man, gotta pop him in once the stream's over. It's a short EP too. I think there's only 3-4 tracks on it. I wanna check it out. I do. I don't know if I'll have time today, but geez, I don't know when I'll have time this week. Because usually my big listening days are Wednesdays and Fridays. And this Wednesday, I will be recording the Cardiacs album review that was supposed to come out yesterday. So, yeah, I'm going to have a greatly diminished amount of time to check music out this week. Dang. I'm going to find I might not get to everything on my list. I got to find a time for this, though. It's a short EP. If I got to, like, pop some headphones in while I'm laying down for bed and just, okay, I'm going to go to bed 15 minutes later today. That's what I'll have to do. But yeah, I enjoyed that. If the rest of the album's just like that, I'm on board. It reminds me so much of what I liked about their last album, and reminds me that I need to check out their older stuff too. Yep, it really depends on, it's not even just the song either. Like when it comes to breakdowns, yeah, that is 100%. Does the song need one is a question that I think bands need to question, especially in deathcore, even post-hardcore. There's just, I guess it's a lot of genres stemming off of or branching off of hardcore punk. it's a staple of the genre, but does the song need it? When it comes to guitar solos, it's a little bit more than does the song need it, because there's the secondary section of do you have something to say? Because I always think a guitar solo needs to add something to a track. It isn't just about being, you know, I think a song can have a section that says, yes, this screams it's time for the guitar to take the lead melody, but maybe the guitarist just isn't connected to the song in a way that leads to a good melodic idea, and the storytelling just isn't there. So more stuff goes into that, I think. I get to catch this right before I have to clock in for work. All right. Pliny, glad to have you. Brain Rot Plague, welcome. Pervarium, glad you're here. Guitar solos always make me feel indifferent. It really depends. I mean, here's the other thing too, is that I'm pretty far divorced from heavy metal in general, which is, I feel like there's just a lot of songs where the guitar solo is added because that's what you do in a heavy metal band. As the guitarist, your job is to solo in the bridge. And yes, I do feel a bit indifferent about a lot of that. But, you know, like Leon had mentioned, that feels like one of those situations where you just do it because that's what you do. I think it's always great when a band who doesn't have guitar solos typically puts one into their song, because you know that was a conscious decision. They said, I don't usually do this, but I feel compelled here. And I feel like those moments are where the passion shines through a bit. Yeah, 100%. They have to feel like a part of the composition. It can't feel like this is the guitar solo. It has to feel like this is a continuation of what they're telling me. And it's got to drive the composition, yeah. You know, it is 100% what we explored with Tasteful Solos a few weeks ago. Songs that are there to benefit the song, not there to show off the guitarist's skills or to just be a guitar solo. For the core community, a breakdown isn't only there for changing things up, but adding to the song as well. Yeah, they certainly can be. And, you know, by definition, the breakdown does add to a song. Especially, I mean, even with post-hardcore, which I have a lot more experience with, a lot of songs can sound very samey, and the breakdown does do a lot to change things up, not just in a pure contrast way, but to add more to the song. So it has its purpose. I just don't always feel like its purpose is fully utilized. Half utilized might be a good way to think about it. And yeah, and you can add anything to add more to a song. It doesn't have to be a breakdown. And I think that's my big takeaway with it. Same thing with guitar solos, is there's a lot of things you can do for a third section of a song. It doesn't always have to be a breakdown or a solo. And I think that's one reason that I like post-hardcore, is that the third section tends to just be the bridge. Whereas in heavy metal, your bridge typically is your solo, or maybe an introduction to the solo. A lot of post-hardcore bands have a bridge. It's a third brand new section, or at least the post-hardcore that I've enjoyed. It's possible I've listened to a lot of post-hardcore that does breakdowns on their bridges, and just I've forgotten about them because that's not very memorable to me. Yeah, drum solos are a fantastic way to add things too, when they're done well. I think drum solos are even harder to balance than guitar solos, though. Yeah, dude, Tasteful Guitar Solo Week was fantastic. It really was. That was just a week of really good writing all over the place. I think it does get ignored too, especially since I don't think a tasteful solo is going to bring in fans like a meticulous, skillful solo will. One is visually appealing and it has marketability, and one is artistic, which tends to have less marketability. There are some solos that can blur the lines a little bit, and I think that's what we explored a lot of during that theme. But for the most part, when you want a guitar solo to be stuck in people's minds, you probably want to go a technical route, even though I feel like those tend to be the ones that work with the song least. And they tend to be an isolated portion of the track that people remember. They don't remember the song, they remember your solo. And so there's not, you know, I'm not going to say one is more correct than the other, of course, but I have my own preference for sure. I don't even really need it to be a solo. Just do something interesting on the drums. I love melodic drum lines simply because they're interesting. I want to hear something more than just the beats. I can turn a metronome on and keep that. I want to hear your drummer do something cool. And sometimes sitting in the pocket is what a song needs, don't get me wrong. But sometimes I just want to hear what your chops are. I want to hear some really cool ideas. And that's what I liked about Transformative Drum Pattern Week too. And we got to hear some pretty cool ideas there. Was it guitar solos specifically? Tasteful, yeah, I think Tasteful Guitar Solos was solos only. Although I think for some of those songs you could argue that it wasn't a guitar solo as much as a guitar lead, but even there I feel like the line is blurred quite a bit. Alright, artificial language. I know some people were looking forward to this. I don't remember who said they were. I am, simply because it's a band name I recognize. This one comes from 2112, relatively standard prog rock, but a new release this month. Bright sound and piano driven at times from their newly released Distant Glow EP, first release since 2019. Absolutely love the triplet and offbeat vocal line deliveries in the halftime slowed outro. Oh, you might be right. It could have been any instrument. Yeah, I think you're right about that. All right, let's dive into this, see what artificial language has for us today. In 1 second, because apparently I don't have Spotify pulled up. All right, let's dive in. Oh, dude, this is starting off so strong. Dude, that's awesome. Yeah, that rhythmic layering. Beautiful. The vocal delivery shift, reining it in a little bit, the projection, the guitar lightening up. Those accented beats are real nice. Did I listen to a lot, so I know right now I'm adding this to my list, though. Got a nice Latin vibe to it at times even. This is straight up classical.
Now did you come here to die? fire? Did you come here to pray to a god who twisted your wrist and hopes the channel would break? You think you're God? No, you're not God. You're just forsaken.
I kind of wish that section had gone somewhere rather than pull back to this chorus, pre-chorus. Okay, what? Dude. Wow. I mean, first of all, I want to just highlight this real quick because we don't hear it too often in rock and metal. This dude's vocals are everywhere. There's just enough of a popish vibe to them, but they still fit well within the rock and metal delivery that we expect in these genres. But he has that really low tone that he utilizes for like 2 syllables before going into a falsetto, bringing it back down into something a bit more comfortable, and then projecting it, really pushing it through. And it's just like he goes between all these different ideas beautifully and perfectly within 3 bars. It is a vocal dexterity we just don't hear too often in this type of music, and I want to highlight that. It's something that you're more expected to hear within the realm of pop. And I love it. I want more of that. I know I've said a lot of times in the past, I like poppier ideas within rock and metal. So it probably makes no one surprised. Like, what? Brian wants more of this? But I do. I wish we had more vocalists in rock and metal who were just exploratory outside of harshes. Like, okay, so like that's a totally different discussion, right? And there's a lot of skill and technique that goes into that, and some of these vocalists are very very creative and have lots of dexterity in the realm of harsh vocals. But I just want this dexterity in clean vocals. Usually in rock and metal you get a vocalist who does what they do well in cleans and they stick with it, and that's fine. This just takes it to the next level though. This is what I love. I remember we checked out one track from RX Bandits, and I think I did praise the vocalist on that, so that tracks. Alright, Paravarium, have a good rest of your day. Yeah, fantastic ending. Pliny and Leon, totally, I mean, right on par with that. Mars Volta does have a good vocalist too. It's one of the things that does keep me around with them. And, you know, I of course praised the vocalist when we checked out at the drive-in too, so... Is that Omar? Or said, I don't remember who does the vocals. He's just fantastic though. Aside from that though, musically turns and twists. We have those Latin ideas. We do have some cool rhythmic switch ups. We have that massive time shift at the very end of the track. All of these ideas work very well. We have the little bit of classical. I think my main thing that's going to be the biggest hurdle is how often they just kind of do djenty stuff. Rhythmic syncopation on a single note. I don't think it didn't wear me down on this track specifically, but it could after multiple listens. I could see it being, if many other songs are like this, something that I enjoy the first or second time but have difficulty coming back to because the great ideas are they're tucked into a lot of the gentler concepts. Okay, Cedric's the vocalist. I'll forget that next time, but thanks for correcting me this time. After I see that like 5 times, it'll click. I'll put it somewhere in my brain. You know what's cool is I've started watching more reactions, not necessarily to music, but to TV shows and stuff. It's something I never really got, but now I do get, which I think is interesting. I found out that quite a few people keep notebooks nearby. It might be because they're watching like 6 different shows all at one time, one for every day of the week, minus a day for break, I suppose. And so just to keep all that organized, they keep notes and stuff. But like, I wonder if I should do that. But then like, how would I organize it? Maybe if I did like Obsidian, which is like a note-taking app with like Markdown and hyperlinking and search and stuff like that. It's very complex, but it's supposed to be really good for organizing thoughts. Maybe I could do that though. And that way I don't have these brain farts so often where like somebody will tell me something for the 5th, 6th, 7th time. I'm like, yeah, I promise I'll remember that next time. Eventually, you find out my promises on remembering things are pretty empty because I have a terrible memory, which is the wildest thing because I can remember so many details about music in the short term, and my long term is just shot. I want so badly to get Obsidian, and it didn't quite fit my needs for that specific project, and I was overwhelmed by it. And I was like, it has its uses. I don't have time for it. Helps remember smaller details, but you're really good at recollecting what you hear. Yeah, like I said, short term, you want me to remember something from 30 minutes ago? I got a bunch of like mnemonic devices and shorthand. I have a lot of techniques for categorizing my thoughts on a song so that I can quickly pull them up later. But like, even like 2 hours after I've done a reaction, no, I don't remember a single thing about what I listened to. I can have my memory jogged pretty quickly, and maybe just hearing the opening riff, I'll start having my ideas flood back in. But once I hit a week, little details are gone. It's over. Part of that might be that I listen to so much music each week too, though. So I don't know. But then there's other little details that, like, I don't know, from movies, video games, books, novels, worlds. I'll just have like buckets of lore in my head that I'll just never forget, and it's not necessary. Although I guess in a sense memorizing who is the vocalist for every band I listen to is a type of lore in a sense. It's not necessarily something I need for everyday living, so the best way to remember something is to care to remember it. That's interesting. Which also falls in line with random lore that I have. I care about those worlds and characters and ideas. Do I care that Cedric is the vocalist for Mars Volta? It's a good question. It's a good question. I do on some levels, I don't on others, and maybe that's why I keep forgetting it. My memory isn't having that though. I'll probably just forget to care to remember. You're still kind of a prod. I would not go that far. Golly. Maybe it's because I'm humble. Maybe it's because I'm too close to my craft. Maybe it's because I know people who do it so much better than me. That seems like a big word for the little thing I do. But I appreciate the sentiment. I do. Starting to like heat up. I don't know if I'm blushing or not. I'm just going to chalk that up to the lights being too hot in here. Did the stream disappear? It shouldn't have. Yes, it did. Can y'all hear me at least? All right. This does not look any better, but hopefully y'all can hear me at the very least. I don't know what happened, but I am dropping frames like crazy. My connection to YouTube is absolutely terrible. I'm going to end the stream here since what I could do didn't seem to help. And we'll pick back up with these last 2 tracks next week and go from there. Maybe we'll do 12 in one day if we can fit it all in. I don't know. So that's going to wrap up today's stream. Apologies for this abrupt ending. I know some of you all were looking forward to the last 2 tracks. I certainly was. But yeah, this will be the end. So you all have a fantastic rest of your day, and tomorrow we'll start a new theme. All right, catch you later.